What is up, guys? It is Delta. I'm still on the iPad. No gaming this time. Just oddly walking around my house. 'Cause over the weekend, I went and saw World War Z and felt I probably should bring a little review just because I actually read the book. Because that's how I spend my time. This is probably the crappiest intro I think ever in the history of all mankind. Anyway, let's start right into the movie. World War Z cast Brad Pitt as just straight up family man who we later learn worked for the UN and encountered strange beings. And throughout the time, while he's taking his kids to work one day, the zombies overrun. It's really big, climactic. It's really good. However, all this climactic is both good and bad because it's really climactic throughout many points of the movie. However, the ending becomes very anticlimactic. Because at the very ending, you look at it, it's like, okay, either this happens or this happens. It would have been better had somebody maybe a little bit closer to him have died. Would have made it a little bit more personal. You would have began to feel for him. Because you feel for him up to point X. However, point X comes very early in the movie. Maybe within the first 20 to 30 minutes. We hit point X. And we never make it to point Y. And I feel if they maybe made an attempt to go to point Y, movie may have been better. It starts with he has to make a very tough decision. And then inside the tough decision, he has to decide whether he and his family are going to live on the safety of the ship, but he has to risk his life to try and find the cure, to find the outbreak of this. I'm running on very little sleep right here. Ooh, let's go 4 hours. Takes more, maybe like 6, maybe 7 at the most. It's summertime. I function more sleep. So, it starts, they go somewhere, I think it's North Korea, because they never say a country. They just say a city. And you're just looking at it like, okay, I don't think I know where the city is. It's just a military base, and you get a very key instinct when they first leave the helicopter. When he's inside the room where the official outbreak began, which he later says, you know what, here's where we have our first recorded attack. However, we may have had 7 or 8 more in this other city way over here on the other side of the planet. It's like, couldn't we have just said that from the beginning? I wouldn't be off this helicopter and you wouldn't have 4 dead guys. However, here's where the very first connection to the book. The soldiers called the zombies Zeke. That was the thing. They every time a military story comes up in World War Z, which is a book with multiple recorded zombie attacks in it, very first time, you get a connection back to the book. Which, again, is Zeke. I wish there were more connections, maybe bigger connections. I don't remember a story in North Korea, and North Korea really doesn't do too much. Another big problem this movie suffers with is everything is predictable to hell. Just anytime something happens, they'll be standing outside talking in front of a door for 40 seconds, and it's like, you sit there and the first thing that goes to your mind is there's clearly a zombie behind that door. It's just gonna happen. Zombie jumps out from behind the door. It's like, maybe he had just pushed that. It would have been a little bit better. But the whole 40 seconds of time is just wasted. What are they talking about? I have no idea. It wasn't anything important. I think they were just repeating that they had to get to the roof for 40 seconds. Which could have been quite possible. Another thing I'm starting to have a very large problem with was it it more focuses on the emotional relationship Brad Pitt's character, aka Jerry, has with his wife, who I didn't know the name of. They opened a lot of gaps in this movie, which is sad because now I'm going to have to get the DVD and watch it 7 or 8 times to try and answer all these questions I have, which I think is terrible for the viewer, but at the same time, that's going to generate money because everybody's going to want to go out and buy the movie so they can try and get all these things, and that'll bring more money. It's a giant cycle. This isn't a pyramid scheme at all. Let's have them pay to go to the theater to see our movie, leave a bunch of questions that they have to probably go home and watch a bunch of extra features in the DVD for, then they have to pay for the DVD to go see the exact same movie. It's definitely some kind of a pyramid scheme. Next thing, Israel. Which I did like because they did make a couple of historical references in it. You know, the Holocaust, the slaughter of 72. It works. Remember, was that 72 or 52? There was a slaughtering in Israel. That's all you need to know. And we get introduced to our next character, Sagan. That's his name. It's like Megan, but with Sagan. It's weird. Like Carl Sagan. So, after this, we get into a little bit more of a new connection. Brad saves Sagan's life after she gets bit by cutting off her hand. She didn't know it would. She asked her, "How would you know that would work?" And he's like, "I didn't." You know, it could have been like, "Yeah, you know, I saved a couple of people." They've just gone from like knife wielding slob to like professional gentlemen in like 40 seconds. But instead, you went from professional gentleman to knife wielding slob. And it becomes a little bit more of a pain at this point. Next thing, they're on the planes. How are commercial airlines still working? Israel cut all their border connections, so nobody is allowed to leave the border unless for a major reason. But they have working planes, and the airport's still fully operational, like nothing's going on. They get Brad and Sagan onto a plane and have them off to an area we're never told. Doug discovers one zombie on the plane. Next thing you know, everybody on the plane's a zombie. Giant plane explosion, crash lands in the middle of nowhere. World Health Organization, more problems arise. And it kind of gets kind of weird, and there's a guy, and I think he does meth. His face just looks weird. At the World Health Organization, they realize that they might be able to figure out a way to not stop the zombies, but make the zombies no longer attack. And the problem is you have to go through like 90 zombies. Again, we have a another predictable, very, very predictable outcome a little bit later in the movie. Sagan, we learn, is very trigger happy. There's a lot of product placement right here, especially for Pepsi. Next, the final thing is, we never learn what happened to Sagan, and the ending to the apocalypse is rushed badly. And what I mean by it's rushed badly is, okay, they discover a way to camouflage themselves. Brad goes to his family. It's a 30-second, very joyful reunion. And then it's like, the zombies have all gone dormant, and now we figure out a way to camouflage ourselves. Yeah, here we are burning all the zombies. Alright, the world's back to normal now. There's like the last 20 minutes of the movie right there. All in all, World War Z, if you never read the book, was a very good movie. It's a very, very good book at that time. So, I recommend everybody should see it once. Just because it is good. It does really portray total population loss, total uncertainty. The dead are never really dead. I can't tell you how many times they shot a dead guy. 30 seconds later, he got back up. The dead are never dead. Which provides a little entertainment. There's a little bit of some comical relief in there. It's a very good thing. I give it about 3.5 stars. Tops. It's really good. You should definitely should go see it. I am Delta, and I'm out.